Miriam, a gentle yet reserved young woman who lives on the outskirts of the village. Miriam is the daughter of a humble carpenter, raised with simple values and taught to work hard. Her mother passed away when she was a child, leaving Miriam with a sense of longing for something more, though she can't quite define what that is. The villagers see Miriam as peculiar. She often drifts off into her own thoughts, preferring solitude to the bustling market. They whisper about her lack of suitors and her refusal to engage in gossip, labeling her odd. Unknown to most, Miriam has a beautiful singing voice, which she shares only with the birds and trees during her long walks in the forest. She finds solace in nature, where she feels most free and alive. Miriam sits by the edge of a calm stream, her reflection shimmering in the water. She hums a haunting melody that seems to merge with the whispers of the wind. Birds gather near her, their chirps blending harmoniously with her song. A subtle shift in the wind hints at the arrival of someone who will change her life forever. Miriam pauses, sensing she is no longer alone. Miriam spends her days helping her father with woodworking. Though she's skilled at carving intricate designs, she dreams of a life beyond the village's confines. Her evenings are her own, spent wandering the forest or sitting by the stream, where she sings her secret songs. The villagers view Miriam as an enigma. Some pity her for not yet being married. Others gossip that she's too proud or strange to be a good wife. Miriam overhears their whispers in the market. She'll grow old alone. She's not like the others. These words sting, even though she tries to ignore them. Miriam dreams of a life where she isn't confined by expectations, where her voice can be heard and valued, not silenced. She envies the birds that fly freely above her, their songs unjudged and unbound. While Miriam craves freedom, she also fears rejection. What if her voice, her one true gift, isn't enough? Her solitude becomes both her sanctuary and her cage. Miriam's father, Ahmed, is a kind but practical man. He loves Miriam deeply, but doesn't fully understand her longing. He often tells her, "A simple life is a good life, Miriam. Why do you need more than that?" Ahmed's unwavering practicality makes Miriam feel torn between her love for him and her unspoken dreams. Miriam reflects on her mother's death and the gap it left in her life. Her mother, a kind and nurturing woman, always encouraged Miriam to sing. As she sings by the stream, Miriam feels a deep connection to her mother's memory, as if her voice carries her mother's spirit. A hawk soars overhead, its sharp cry breaking Miriam's reverie. She watches it fly, sensing that her life, too, is about to take flight, though she doesn't yet know how. The village bell rings in the distance, signaling the arrival of a traveler. As the village bell tolls, Miriam sees a man walking through the dusty market road. His clothes are plain and slightly worn, but his posture is upright, and his gaze holds a quiet confidence. The villagers quickly take notice, whispering among themselves. "Another beggar," someone mutters dismissively, but Miriam senses something different about him. "Who is he?" The man introduces himself as Khalid, a traveling craftsman. He claims to be seeking work and offers to repair or create anything needed. His voice is calm, almost soothing. Despite his modest appearance, his words hold a strange charm that silences the usual gossip for a moment. The villagers are skeptical of Khalid. They question whether he has the skills he claims, calling him an outsider who doesn't belong. Miriam watches silently from the edge of the market, intrigued but hesitant. Later that day, Khalid visits Miriam's father's woodworking shop. He offers to help with repairs in exchange for food and lodging. Miriam initially stays quiet, observing Khalid as he works. His hands move skillfully over the wood, carving patterns with precision and care. Ahmed is impressed and agrees to let Khalid stay in their small guest room temporarily. That evening, Miriam finds Khalid sitting by the stream, quietly sketching the trees around him. Surprised, Miriam asks, "What are you drawing?" Khalid smiles and replies, "I like to capture things as they are, before they're forgotten." This simple answer resonates with Miriam, who feels her own songs are a way of preserving her emotions and memories. Over the next few days, Khalid notices Miriam's talent for carving and her unspoken melancholy. He gently encourages her, saying, "You have a gift. Don't let it go unseen." Miriam is wary at first, but gradually begins to trust Khalid. His words feel genuine, unlike the villager's constant judgment. Khalid repairs Miriam's old, broken lute, surprising her one evening. "I thought it might bring your songs back to life," he says. Touched, Miriam starts playing her songs again, though only when no one is around. While Khalid is kind and skilled, he avoids questions about where he came from or why he's traveling alone. Miriam notices his distant gaze sometimes, as if he's carrying a burden he won't share. One night, as they sit by the fire, Khalid shares a cryptic remark. "Sometimes we leave places not because we want to, but because we must." Miriam doesn't press further, sensing the pain behind his words, but she feels an unspoken kinship with him. As Khalid settles into the village, his presence begins to stir more than just curiosity. The villagers, though initially skeptical, now whisper behind his back. Some believe his quiet charm hides darker motives, while others simply do not trust a stranger, especially one who appears to have no family or clear purpose. Miriam, too, overhears a gossip. "What does he want from us?" one of the women mutters. "He's too quiet, too mysterious." "I don't like it." Miriam feels torn. She has always been someone who seeks comfort in music and the simple joys of life, but Khalid's kindness has stirred something deeper within her. While her family is kind to him, Miriam starts to wonder if they're too trusting. What if he's hiding something? What if he's deceiving them all? At night, as Miriam lies awake, she listens to the sound of Khalid's quiet footsteps around the house and wonders what secrets he might carry with him. One fateful afternoon, disaster strikes. The village's well, the only source of fresh water, suddenly begins to dry up. People panic. It's the new moon, the elders say. The droughts always come during the new moon. In the chaos, Khalid is accused by an elder who suggests that the stranger might be a bad omen or, worse, a thief who has tampered with the well's water supply. The suspicion is thin but enough to spread quickly among the villagers. Miriam, furious at the injustice, defends Khalid. "He had nothing to do with the well," she cries. "He has always helped us." But her defense only deepens the divide. The elder retorts, "And you trust him without question? Maybe you don't see what we see. This stranger could bring misfortune to us all." Khalid, caught between the accusations and Miriam's defense, leaves the village at dawn, disappearing without a word. The villagers are left with more questions than answers. As days pass and the well slowly refills on its own, the villagers' suspicion of Khalid lingers. Yet, the event also raises deeper questions in Miriam's heart. Did I believe in him too easily? She wonders. She reflects on the quiet moments they shared by the stream and the kindness he showed her. But Miriam cannot deny the stirrings in her heart. Khalid was good to her. He helped her see the beauty in things beyond the village. He believed in her gifts when no one else did. One evening, Miriam makes up her mind. She will not let Khalid be judged by others' ignorance. She must find him, understand the truth, and offer her own heart's defense. Despite the fears and warnings of the villagers, she packs a small bundle, takes a deep breath, and begins her journey toward the mountains where Khalid had said he was headed. As Miriam sets off, the village continues its whispering. Some suggest that Miriam has been charmed by the stranger's allure and that she's foolish to follow him. But as Miriam walks toward the horizon, she is resolute in her decision. She knows that sometimes it is only when we take the first step into the unknown that we find what we were truly seeking. As Miriam ventures farther into mountains in search of Khalid, she faces numerous challenges that test both her physical endurance and emotional resilience. The harsh terrain and unpredictable weather force her to rely on her own instincts, and she begins to find strength she never knew she had. Each night, as she rests under the stars, Miriam reflects on her journey. She no longer feels the need to ask for permission or seek approval from others. For the first time, Miriam starts to embrace her own voice, her own decisions, without fear of what others might say. Along the way, Miriam meets other travelers who, like her, are on their own journeys of discovery. Some are artists, others are wandering healers, and a few are simply seeking a better life. In them, Miriam sees pieces of herself, people who, just like her, have been misunderstood or underestimated by their communities. These encounters spark something in Miriam, an understanding of the world beyond the village, and a desire to break free from the constraints of tradition. Her confidence grows, and with it, her sense of self-worth. When Miriam finally finds Khalid, it is in a secluded clearing near a forgotten temple, where the moonlight dances upon the ruins. Khalid is sitting by a fire, but there's a heavy sadness in his eyes, a weight of years that he has carried in silence. He greets her with a quiet warmth, but there is something different in his demeanor. Khalid no longer seems like the humble man who once shared his heart with Miriam. Instead, he seems distant, as if the world he had once been part has already moved on without him. As they speak, Miriam learns that Khalid has long been living with a secret that he has kept hidden from a village. He was once a man of wealth and stature, a nobleman who lost everything in a betrayal. His life, once full of promise, was shattered by false accusations that turned his world upside down. He had been wandering ever since, seeking redemption in the simplest of lives. He tells Miriam of his past, his struggles with identity, and the love he once had for a woman who betrayed him, much like the village's mistrust of him. His story, raw and unfiltered, shows a man who is both broken and proud, unable to escape the shadow of his past, but unwilling to let it define him. As Miriam listens, she is both moved and troubled. Khalid's story makes her heart ache, but it also raises uncomfortable questions about herself. She realizes that in her search for truth, she has begun to shape her own identity around Khalid's struggle. The confidence she had gained from her journey begins to turn into something else: pride. She feels an unspoken superiority over the village, as though she is now the one who understands things they never could. Her growing sense of self-importance begins to cause tension in her relationship with Khalid. The compassion she once felt for him now feels like a burden. She expects him to be someone he isn't, someone who fits into the idealized version she has created in her mind. Khalid, who had once seen Miriam as a beacon of hope in a world of darkness, begins to withdraw emotionally. He sees a change in her, the shift from a woman who sought understanding to one who now stands with a sense of judgment. Even if unspoken, he speaks softly but firmly. "You are always the one who listened, Miriam. I saw something in you that I thought the world had forgotten. Kindness. But now, you look at me as though you figured me out, as though I'm no longer a mystery, and that scares me." This moment causes a deep internal struggle within Miriam. She begins to see the dissonance between the person she was when she first left the village, innocent, open-hearted, and humble, and the person she's becoming now. Is she truly helping Khalid by uncovering his past, or is she only reinforcing the walls he has spent years building around his heart? Her confidence is both a blessing and a curse, allowing her to stand tall, yet isolating her from the people who once mattered. One evening, under the canopy of stars, Miriam faces a pivotal moment. She and Khalid have been at odds for days now, their once comfortable companionship now strained. In a moment of frustration, Miriam confronts him, her voice sharp and accusing. "Why didn't you tell me the truth sooner? Why did you hide from the village? You could have been more than this, Khalid. Why let yourself become so ordinary?" Khalid, looking weary but resolute, meets her gaze. "Perhaps it is you who have changed, Miriam. Perhaps it is you who no longer see me, but only the image of me you have created in your mind." Miriam walks slowly, her feet heavy with the weight of her thoughts. The village, which once seemed so small and ordinary to her, now feels different, larger, more meaningful. The roads are the same, the trees lining the path whisper with the same winds, but she feels the change within herself. Her heart is no longer focused on the desire to prove something to the world, nor does she carry the burden of past mistakes. There's a quiet resolution in her step now, a realization that her journey wasn't just through the mountains or across rivers. It was through the soul, and that journey is one that never truly ends. One evening, as the sun dips low behind the hills, Miriam sits at the edge of the river. The water, once a symbol of her need to escape, now seems a mirror to her soul, calm, steady, and ever-flowing. She gazes at her reflection, seeing it in the face of the woman who once thought she could conquer the world with her strength alone. But now, she sees someone different. A woman who has learned that there is no true strength without vulnerability, no courage without humility. And though she carries the scars of her journey, she also carries the lessons she's learned. Lessons that she would not have understood had she not taken the hard road. The quiet hum of nature around her speaks to her, as if the very earth is whispering the truth she now knows. That life is not a contest of who can stand tallest, but of who can stand with the most love and grace for those around them. One morning, after a long silence, Miriam decides to visit Khalid. She knows that he may not be there, that he may have gone far from the village, but she feels she must at least try. She needs to offer him the apology she should have given long ago, and she hopes that by doing so, she can begin to heal the wound she caused not only between them, but within herself as well. She knocks gently on his door. The familiar creak of the wood, the soft flutter of birds from the nearby trees. Everything feels the same, but her heart is racing. She doesn't know what to expect, doesn't know if he will welcome her, or she will find his door forever closed to her. After a long pause, the door opens, and there he stands, Khalid. His expression is soft, but there is a distance between them, a silence that speaks volumes. He doesn't say a word at first, simply looks at her, as if unsure what to make of her visit. Finally, Miriam speaks, her voice low but steady. I came to say I'm sorry for everything. I let my pride take over, and I hurt you in the process. I never wanted to lose you, but I know now that I was too focused on proving myself to understand what really mattered. Khalid's gaze softens and he steps aside, inviting her in. As she enters his home, she notices how little has changed. It's still modest and simple, just as it was when they were younger. It feels as though nothing has moved forward, yet everything has changed. Khalid looks at her with a faint smile, but there's an understanding in his eyes. I was angry too, he admits quietly, but I also knew that you were searching for something. You were lost, just as I was. And in the end, it wasn't about me, was it? It was about finding the right balance within yourself. The two of them sit in silence for a while, and for the first time in a long time, Miriam feels at peace. There are no words that can undo the past, but there's a sense of mutual respect and understanding. The tension that once existed between them has dissolved, replaced by something stronger, the ability to forgive. As Miriam returns to the village, she begins to embrace a quieter life, one that is still full of ambition, but driven by the wisdom of experience rather than the need for validation. She helps others in ways she had never thought possible before, offering kindness where she once offered judgment, patience where she once rushed. She becomes a mentor to the younger women in the village, teaching them not just the skills of daily life, but the importance of humility, listening, and loving without condition. The village, which had once seen her as a proud woman determined to prove herself, now sees a different Miriam, a woman who has learned the power of softness and strength balanced together. Months later, Miriam and Khalid find themselves in each other's presence again, not as the strangers they become, but as two people who have both grown, who have both learned. They stand at the edge of the river once more, side by side, silently acknowledging the journey they've both taken. I always knew you'd find your way back, Khalid says softly, his voice carrying no judgment, only a quiet admiration. Miriam smiles, but it's a smile that speaks of more than just happiness. It's the smile of someone who has learned the true meaning of life's most important lessons. And so, the story of Miriam and Khalid reminds us all that strength does not come from standing apart or from standing tall in our own pride. True strength is found in the ability to listen, to forgive, and to embrace our imperfections without shame. It is found in the quiet moments of reflection, in the willingness to learn from our mistakes, and in the understanding that life is not a contest, but a shared journey where we grow together. The story asks us all, what is your pride hiding from you? What lessons are you missing in your race to prove your worth? The greatest wisdom is often found in humility, and the best journeys are those that lead us back to ourselves with a heart open to others.